Members present for a quorum. So we have the fiscal year 2021 operating budget. We'll have Mr. Henson review the budget, and then we'll walk through it, talk about teacher and certificated employees' compensation, have a presentation on advocacy centers, and then we'll approve the budget, and then we'll end the meeting. So I'd just like to thank the board members just going through this process. We're towards the end of the process, from what we started from the aspirational budget, from the resolution that we passed, submitting it to the mayor's office, the mayor giving his allocation for historic investment, particularly towards teachers' pay due to the study, and then also providing compensation for the continuation of service, which was $81 million, and now we are going to go through the detailed part of it, approve that here during the committee meeting, also discuss it during the actual board meeting. Then tomorrow we will have our presentation in front of the Budget and Finance Committee of the Metro Council. From them, they will go and pass the substitute budget and then see if we need to reconcile from anything from their allocation from our budget. And then if there's necessary, make improvements. If not, we will continue on. So that's the process that we're at. So we're kind of the tail end of that process as the Metro Budget Council receives the mayor budget and goes from there with their budget process. So now we'll have Mr. Henson come and review the operating budget.
Thank you, Ms. Player-Peters. Good afternoon, everyone. As you know, we included the operating budget proposal in your board agenda packet, which came out on Thursday. We had a brief discussion regarding the operating budget at your board retreat on Friday and went through some of the documents. And so we'll do that again and go through a little further. And then we'll also, as indicated by the agenda, we'll have a couple of presentations that are embedded within that budget document afterward, and then we'll ask for the committee to approve the budget proposal for consideration by the full board. So if you have your packet, or if you want to follow on the screen, as mentioned on Friday, this document number 1 is the document that we spend the most time looking at, because it's intended to be a summary of changes from the current year amended budget that you amended back in December to the budget proposal for fiscal year 2021-2022. And so again, I'm just going to go down through some of these line items to make sure that everyone understands what they represent. The top part of the page does represent employee compensation. And as we discussed on Friday, the cost of the certificated salary step increase is higher here than what we had previously discussed because of the increase to the overall teacher salary schedule. And so as the overall teacher salary schedule is lifted up and increased, then the cost of a step increase increased as well. And so we have $5,267,000 for certificated salary step increase. We also are including this next group, the certificated administrators. They were not included in the pay study, pay plan that was commissioned by the mayor and then ultimately funded in his recommended budget for us. And so we've included a 2% cost of living adjustment and a step increase for our certificated administrators. That represents the same pay increase that's being proposed for our support employees as well as Metro general government employees. The certificated teacher pay plan, you can see there, $44,680,000. This comes from that study, again, commissioned by the mayor, performed by Education Resource Strategies, or ERS, and has been recommended for funding in the mayor's budget. The certificated insurance increase, $8.3 million. Again, this is the first increase for certificated insurance in 3 years. And so our insurance trust, which is made up of 3 school board members, 3 MNEA representatives, voted back in January to increase the premiums, again, the first time in 3 years. Certificated pension, a slight increase. This comes to us from the state. This is from the state plan, the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, a fairly modest increase. Next, we have our support employees, salary step increase of $2.7 million, and then a 2% cost of living adjustment at a little over $3.2 million. As you know, our support employees' benefits are governed by the Metro Employee Benefit Board, and the Metro Employee Benefit Board voted on an increase to the insurance as well as the pension. This would be the same increase for Metro general government employees, and you can see the costs there. Overall, employee compensation, the proposal is to increase that by $67,474,000. In the middle part of the page, we have what we call required additions. Most of this comes to us from Metro government, particularly Metro Finance. The first is the Metro IT charges. We are seeing a slight decrease there. That is an internal service fund that is based upon the users that use the services that the Metro IT department actually provides. The second, a slight increase to the radio transmission. Again, this comes to us from Metro. The injury on duty for our certificated employees is part of the insurance trust, and then the injury on duty for support employees is part of the Metro Employee Benefit Board. Building and contents insurance, this is a fairly significant increase, $1.363 million. This comes to us from Metro, actually through the insurance division of Metro Legal. Property tax refund, the MDHA transfer, there's an increase here after a decrease last year. This increase is a little over $1.1 million. Our inflationary increases and other required expenditures, these would be things just moving forward at the same level of service. A lot of these are automatic increases to contracts. We also have some positions that previously had been funded through a grant that's ending that we want to continue, or some positions that had previously been funded by federal Title II or Title III, and we need to move those to the local operating budget to be able to continue those. Our charter school number is a little over $15 million. Again, this is a state statute provided calculation of state and local revenue per student. Of course, as the local revenue increases with our budget proposal, then the per pupil amount that will be shared with our charter schools increases. And so this amount is a little more than what we saw initially, but it's again based upon a calculation that's provided in state law. And then we do have some reductions to the overall student-based budgets. This would be because of our projections next year. They're going to be, enrollment projections are going to be higher than the actual enrollment this year, but the enrollment projections for next year are still a little lower than what the projected enrollment was for this year, of course, that we didn't see. And budgets are based on projections, and so this is comparing last year's student enrollment projection to this year's student enrollment projection. So our subtotal of required additions, other, little under $15 million. At the bottom part of the page, you see two entries. The first would be the social and emotional learning for advocacy coaches and a specialist. You'll see a presentation a little later in the committee meeting from Dr. Springer as it relates to our advocacy centers, 42.5 positions, $2.5 million. And then the next line item, you can see that our textbooks, we zeroed out that particular budget in the operating budget. We'll be funding all the textbook needs from ESSER funding, federal ESSER funding for fiscal year 22. And so that $3.94 million reduction, again, zeroes out that particular account in the operating budget, but those needs will be met with federal ESSER monies. So we have a bottom line increase of 47.5 positions, an increase of a little over $81 million, the most ever with MNPS operating budget, representing an 8.7% increase in an overall operating budget of just over $1 billion. Any questions on the summary sheet, any of the items that I just reviewed? If not, I will go. Did you have something?
Well, I mean, the question I have is about the SEL, but should I just hold off until the presentation to ask the, okay.
If you would, thank you. So I'll just walk you through a couple of the other documents in here so you know what's here. The next page, document number 2, just breaks down all of the position changes. We always have this document to reflect position changes in the budget. so that you can see what they are. Again, totaling $47.5 million. We've got, again, a few positions that are related to an I-3 STEM grant that's ending, as well as some positions that were previously funded from either Title II or Title III. And then, of course, the vast majority are the SEL positions that we'll be discussing in more detail here in a few minutes. The next document, document number 3, just shows the 10-month support employee work calendar based upon student days. All of these positions are paid an additional 16 days for paid time off, whether that be vacation or holidays, and then additional days that employees are paid to come into work when students aren't in session for orientation, training, and administrative duties. You can see there's no change from the prior year. You can see the total number of paid days for each of these different 10-month support employees. The next document, document number 4, begins a series of documents that breaks down certain accounts in the line item document number 9. The first one here is account 2328, our 4 early learning centers, Ross, Davis, Kazazafran, and Cambridge, and you can see the totals over there to the far right, that 85.5 positions and a little over $6.2 million. You'll see that matches account 2328 in the 26-page detailed line item budget, which is document number 9. The next document that we come to would be a breakdown of our 2 alternative learning centers, which are in account 2600. The next document will reflect our non-traditional schools in account 2650. We have early college, big picture, the 3 academies, our virtual school, and then the transitions program. The next document breaks down our 3 special education centers in account 2810, Cora Howe, Harris Hillman, and Merle. And then document number 9. Document number 9 shows the breakdown for our charter schools. You can see each of the 27 district charter schools, the estimated enrollment for each, the estimated per pupil rate, which again is a state mandated calculation of state and local revenue per student of a little over $12,000. And then doing the math all the way across, the estimated allocation for each of those 27 charter schools. And then in the far right column, an asterisk, and you can see there are 3 of the district-run charter schools that will continue to be adding an additional grade going into next year based upon their approved growth plan. The information at the bottom of the page is really more for information. You can see with the double asterisk there, the state allocates the revenue prior to disbursement to MNPS. And what that means is the state will take the estimated enrollment and the estimated per pupil amount and deduct it from our district BEP, state BEP funding, and send it directly to either the State Board of Education or the Achievement School District for those schools that are within Davidson County. You can see that there are currently 3 State Board of Education run schools. All will be adding an additional grade next year, and 2 Achievement School District schools, which have been with us now for a little while. But it's the same funding allocation, it's just mechanically handled differently. The next document begins our 26-page line item document. Document number 9 shows by account the current year number of positions, current year budget. Columns E and F reflect the proposed position changes and budget changes resulting in columns G and H. And then column I is intended to provide some explanation or remarks as it relates to different types of positions and non-personnel line items all the way through the budget. And then if you get to the very end of that, page 26 of 26, you'll see again the original amended budget with number of positions in dollars, the additional 47.5 positions, an increase of a little over $81 million, resulting in the number of positions and the total budget that you are asked to approve this evening. And then the last 3 pages are intended to be more or less a cheat sheet of if you have an idea of what the account may be named. These are sorted in alphabetical order And so if you have an idea, you can hopefully find the account number in document number 9, and realizing that that is a detailed line item document that's 26 pages in length. And so with that, I will see if there are any questions about any of the other documents that we have gone through here. Any questions?
Ms. Tyler?
Yes, I had a question about document 3,
Okay.
the 10-month support employee work calendars. I noticed that, so the paid time off days remain the same from last year to this year. How many days are unpaid vacation days for them?
There aren't any unpaid vacation days. 10-month employees do not earn vacation pay, do not earn vacation days. And so this is basically payment in lieu of for holidays and for vacation. And I don't know, Dr. Barnes, if you want to speak to that any further or not, but that's, since 10-month employees do not earn vacation leave, they are paid for 16 additional days.
And how many days do we have in our calendar that are vacation holidays? Or is it 16 exactly, or do we have more than that, and so there are some they're not getting paid for?
There would be some, I don't know the number, and you may be referencing the Veterans Day holiday, I'm not sure, which has come up in the past. I don't have the exact number, but of course, I just want to be sure that everybody understands we're not asking any employee to work and not be paid. When I hear unpaid days, I start thinking of that, but I think I know what you mean, that this is the same as it has been for several years, and so I don't know the answer to that question as far as how many additional holidays there might be.
Okay, I just, I've heard from some support employees that have been concerned that because some of the vacation days are not paid for them because they're not working and it's not included in this budget item, that some of their checks are varied, and it creates problems when they're trying to budget, and many of them have to have second jobs to do that. And I was just trying to see where we were as far as trying to take care of them and keep it so that their salary would remain stable throughout the year, in order to provide them some ability to know what to count on. And
Sure. And I'll try to address that the best I can. Teachers are considered exempt employees from federal wage law, which means that they're salaried employees, and that's in state statute. These 10-month support employees are considered non-exempt, which means they would earn and be paid overtime if they work overtime, so they're hourly employees. And the federal wage law requires that they be paid based upon the number of days and hours that they work within a pay period. So the issue really is more about the calendar, as far as how the calendar works and when students are in session and when they're not. Since these 10-month employees are paid based on the number of days that they work within a pay period, there will be pay periods where when students aren't in session and it doesn't encompass one of these days, that they're not going to be paid. They're not going to work, but they're not going to be paid either. So that's how we're able to spread the teacher salary throughout the year pretty evenly, because they're salaried or exempt employees, but not the support employees that are considered non-exempt or hourly employees. We're required to pay them based on number of days and hours that they work during that pay period. And so it's really more of a calendar type issue based upon when students are in session and when they're not. But that is a valid concern that we do hear about.
and is there any way that we could take a look, whether it's in this budget or in future budgets, of trying to make sure that we, even if it's a day off for them, that we're taking care of them? I think it's a very small number of days that are not included in this vacation holiday where they're not working. So it would not be a large impact on our total budget. And so I was, just wanted to get thoughts on that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Ms. Player-Peters, or?
What I've been thinking about is when we examine the pay study for support staff, use as the foundation to consider how we can do it. I mean, because part of it is a logistic issue. And it's a frustrating logistical issue because when your pay period falls and when you actually receive your actual paycheck, you have those short paychecks. So part of it, like Mr. Henson said, it's a logistical issue of the calendar. So how do you also fix the logistics of the calendar? But then also, how do you make sure they're being compensated appropriately? And so I think that's the issue that's at hand. So I think as we look into support staff and the pay scale, I think that's one we can use as a foundation to really get into discussions of what that looks like. And the question is, what does that look like? How do you can function? And that's where the devil's in the details. And I think right now it's not the ideal time to talk about it, but I think something as we go into future board meetings and as we go into next year, we really kind of get into the details of how we can start approaching that problem. But that's kind of the yin and yang of it, I guess, is the best way to kind of put it, of how do you solve the problem with the budget implications, but also logistical implications with the calendaring.
Yeah, I think, the issue is that sometimes in a 10-day pay period, they don't work 10 days. So that I wonder if for this upcoming year, something we could possibly consider doing that wouldn't affect the budget is to think about balancing those in a different way. I understand they have to submit a timesheet and be paid for that exact time, but if there was some way, thinking logistically, that we could balance that out, I think that would really be appreciated, because whatever the reason, the reality is if you have a paycheck that's less because I know, for example, they aren't paid for the professional development days, that they don't work, but teachers are in school on those days working. So if we could just think about a way to balance that.
We'll work on it.
Mr. Little?
Yeah, and I think what you guys are saying, when I worked in the school system, I was an employee. Sometimes the teachers would come and I wouldn't have access to get paid. And so I had to say, okay, like, what am I going to do to make this up? Is that what you guys are saying? I didn't know the right words, but I remember it was clear that I wasn't going to get paid those days, even though I was able to work and wanted to work.
Yeah. I mean, also difficult to different classifications within the support staff, from cafeteria workers to education assistants to clerks so that's also a different part of the issue too. It's how do you make sure it's comprehensive for the different types of job classifications and their duties within the school too. So. And
then how do we choose which days are ones that are paid time off and which ones are not? Because that might be towards Ms. Masters' point of trying to even it out, if we have the ability to pick and choose which days are, so that we can create a more basic, you can count on it, paycheck, as opposed to maybe several days in a row that they're not going to be paid in one pay period. So I don't know if that's something we have control over, or if it's based on holidays that we don't have control over. That's my question.
And Chris, I'll respond, because it does come down to the calendar and the work days. And I think it would be remiss if we did not acknowledge the work that the teams have been putting in over the last few years, which is made up of our certificated staff, our support staff. They will tell you, I think, coming out of this, that this is a hard task to try to accomplish, but we have been able to make some strong grounds in balancing out the calendar. And that was something that we heard, something that we've been able to attack this current school year's calendar and going into next year. And so just please be aware that those conversations are happening and that the representation is around the table to help us balance the two. But I will tell you, coming out of that, we had some of our employees say, I thought I wanted to dig into this. This is much more complicated than you would think on the surface. But we have definitely made up some ground in balancing out the calendar for this upcoming school year.
Okay, thank you. I just think if there's anything we can do that's in our power to support them and make it a little bit easier, we should try to do it. So I'm glad to hear that we are paying attention and listening and doing what we can. So I'm looking forward to that support staff compensation study, so we can hopefully move forward with that as well.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll turn it over then, I believe, to Dr. Battle. Are you going to
Yes, sir.
walk through the first part of, well, I'll let you pull it, or Sean, you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henson, for your overview of the operating budget for this year. As I'm sure you all noticed, a very big portion of that is going to be the compensation plan recommended by Mayor John Cooper and aligned to this board's top priority around teacher compensation. We know this is a priority which will make MNPS best in state for teacher compensation across all levels at the state. First, I do want to take this opportunity again to thank Mayor John Cooper for keeping his commitment to teachers and not only asking for this compensation study, but also funding it as soon as Metro finances allowed for us to do so. As you probably remember, back in the early months of 2020, we discussed this overhaul of the pay plan for teachers as a part of our budget process. The early weeks of March 2020 dashed many of our hopes and ambitions for that year. Due to a combination of a tornado that ripped through Nashville and the uncertainties around the pandemic and how that would impact the city's revenue for the remainder of that fiscal year and the next one, which we're now in. But the commitment remained there to advance the cause of having our teachers be best paid in the state. And thanks to the fiscal management of the city, which included MNPS doing our part to make budget cuts this fiscal year, the city is now in a position to make good on their promise. I want to give a special shout out to the Nashville Public Education Foundation and their director, Katie Core, who have been instrumental in making this happen, along with Education Resource Strategies, or ERS, which conducted the study and analysis that informed this plan. This was a lot of hard work over many months and years. Now, this covers certificated staff, but we know that we still need to look at support staff and certificated administrators to ensure we are competitive in pay. Our current pay plan is, in the words of the consultants who did the study, one of the flattest they have ever seen. And again, this is on the certificated side. Meaning that while we offer a great starting salary compared to other districts, we fail to keep up the progress year over year, resulting in a flatter pay schedule that does not do enough for our veteran, experienced teachers. Now on this slide here is an example of one curve for our certificated teachers with a master's degree. At the bottom, you see the current step scale in relation to some of the districts throughout the state. Here on this slide in yellow, you'll see a new version of the scale which will raise that salary above all other districts in the state of Tennessee every step of the way, which is huge. Deserves a round of applause. And if you look at this slide, what a dramatic difference that is. So let's look at some of the highlights of this proposal. First and foremost, we will be saying to teachers who work here already and those looking for employment opportunities that we value your commitment and dedication to MNPS by giving every teacher a salary increase, with the average across the district being nearly $7,000. Those who will see the most are those who have suffered the most from our current salary schedule that was really flat in the mid-career range. Under our current plan, if you want a higher salary, you need to move out of the classroom or take other positions to be rewarded for your experience. Under this new plan, we will continue to have opportunities for career advancement, but we are also saying to teachers that lead throughout our classrooms, building individual relationships with students and further honing your craft, you should be financially rewarded for that commitment. Under this plan, all employees eligible for a step increase will see one. And those who are support or certificated administration will see a 2% cost of living adjustment that is in line with Metro government. We will also continue to review our current salary and pay structures for those job classifications to ensure we are being competitive throughout the state. Finally, in addition to the investments in teacher compensation, the mayor is fully funding our continuity of operations budget, which means we can continue to offer the same great level of service without having to make cuts to our budget, which we've had to do, as you all remember, for the last several years. And Mayor Cooper is proposing $2.5 million for social emotional learning investments in advocacy centers and specialists all across the district. On top of all of this, we're going to continue to leverage federal ESSER funding and any additional funding provided through state grants to make investments in support, programs, operations, and infrastructure to result in improved focused outcomes for our students in the areas of literacy, numeracy, social emotional learning, and transitions from grade levels into colleges and careers. So Ms. Claire Peters mentioned this at the opening of the Budget Committee, and I'll just give a quick reminder. On this slide, you see a timeline for the budget process. Mayor Cooper has presented his budget, and this board is adopting a budget today. Tomorrow, we will go up to the Metro Council to present this information and to answer their questions. I'm very optimistic that the council will keep education as a top priority when approving a budget in June to go into effect on July 1. Now, before I kick it over to Dr. Springer, I want to just give a thank you to all of our teachers for all you do on behalf of Metro Nashville Public Schools and the students we serve. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Michelle Springer, our Chief of Student Support Services, and she's going to take a few minutes to go over our Advocacy Center portion of the mayor's proposed budget. Dr. Springer.
Thank you, Dr. Battle, and thanks to each of you for a commitment to social emotional learning. We know it is critical for a guaranteed experience for our students who are in elementary school and across grade levels as well. So thank you. As you all see, Advocacy Centers is a trauma-informed and a restorative approach for our students who are in elementary schools. What we intend for our advocacy centers is to provide short-term interventions for our students so that they can develop those pro-social skills that will support them with regulation and school success, not only in elementary schools, but also as they matriculate through middle school and high school as well. This space, regulation space, is designed to support the wellness of our students who become emotionally or behaviorally dysregulated during the school day, and normally that interruption in instruction happens immediately after. Now we're saying there's access to short-term trauma-informed support and restorative care for students that is on demand. When a student accesses the Advocacy Center, they will receive 4 types of support from an Advocacy Center coach. And might I add, this Advocacy Center is open every single day. So a student accesses the center. They will receive mindfulness, calming strategies for that regulation. So they immediately calm down, regulate. The coach engages them in conversation and reflection about the incident or the needs that have arisen. And then there's accountability action to repair harm if needed. And then what we want ultimately is for a quick reentry and reintegration into the learning environment because that student has been wrapped with immediate supports. Our desired outcomes are critical. We want to minimize missed instruction for our students. We want our students to be re-engaged in the learning environment as quickly as possible. Another outcome is to build those skills that we know our students will need for regulation and management, not only now, but for life. And then finally, those behavioral challenges that may come up that otherwise result in those punitive disciplinary actions, the advocacy centers provide another option for our students in need. This investment will include staffing, educational materials, as you see, and technology, a school-wide assessment tool. So not only will those students who are accessing the Advocacy Center enjoy those benefits or have access to those benefits, the entire school will have access to those benefits because we will know and have a pulse on our students' needs. Software is included as well as construction, calming decor, lighting. We want the conditions to be right in every single advocacy center. We want to also be good stewards of this investment, and we want to sustain. In doing so, we want to offer school-wide professional development for not only our leadership, but faculty and staff. And we have a myriad of options, but just to name a few, we want to make sure our staff are versed in mindfulness and yoga, trauma-informed, restorative practices, implicit bias, and the list goes on. We also want to connect our advocacy center support to our strong systems that are already in place through our MTSS process, which is our multi-tiered systems of support. This is a structure that allows schools to look at student data, review student data, assess needs, through the data protocols, and then align those supports accordingly. Align internal supports as well as external supports. And that occurs through our collaborative referral process. I want to take just a few moments to just share with you how the selection was made. So first, we have where we started using our ESSER funds, and we focused on the Reimagine clusters, and that included 14 schools. And then we shifted to our next set of Reimagine clusters, which included 23 schools, and that's out of the investment, the 2.5 investment from the mayor. And then we utilized our equity matrix for the remaining 18 schools. I'll kind of share a bit about that equity matrix. We've used this matrix on multiple occasions already this year. We noted that we have got to be equitable in the way that we identify resources for our students. So we used it when we identified the essential daycares, our promising scholar sites, and our after-school and before-school programming. So we'll do the same here. So some of those metrics that we utilize to evaluate include, are you a school of innovation? And we know the needs are great. Economically disadvantaged English language learners and students with disabilities. I'll return us back to the process just so that we're clear on the three clusters that we began with, which is Maplewood, Pearlcombe Cluster, and Whites Creek Cluster. They are in the midst of this process right now. Next up is Hunters Lane Cluster, McGavock Cluster, and Stratford Cluster. And then finally, using the equity matrix that expands throughout the Southeast and the Southwest clusters. With that said, I want to be clear that we are not leaving our middle school supports out or our high school supports out while we are prioritizing our elementary schools. Several of our schools already have restorative practices assistants, which is the strategy for our secondary schools, as you see noted here in our middle school and our high school. And we've had schools to identify that this is a need immediately, and so they have allocated funds using ESSER dollars to staff an RPA or a Peace Center room. Several years ago, each school selected a Tier 1 behavior support. So when we think about those middle schools and high schools, there's already supports outfitted. A school has either selected SEL foundations, school-wide positive behavior supports, or restorative practices. If you selected restorative practices, then you have a restorative practice assistant already. And you noted that there are several schools that already have these supports in place. In those schools, there is a Peace Center. And that Peace Center is also a space for students to get on-demand supports immediately, using the restorative practices framework so that a student can refocus, they can be redirected, they can recover and return to class as soon as possible. Also, students, instead of out-of-school exclusionary responses, can also go to the Peace Center room and get supports and services there as well. Finally, I want to just note that our schools are equipped with supports and services. Although we have gaps and we know that we have schools that we want to ensure have increased supports and services, there are schools and there are services already in our middle and high schools, and you see them here. Counseling, social work, psychologists, professional development. We could go on, mentoring, and the like. So just to end, I want to say that yes, we are prioritizing our elementary school students so that they have that guaranteed support system in place so that they have a strong foundation as they matriculate through middle school and high school. And we also aren't leaving out our middle schools as we're building this out as well. Neither are we leaving out our high schools. So our schools have support. We want to continue to layer in support. And again, we thank you for your commitment to social emotional learning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Okay. Or do you need to wrap up anything, Dr. Battle? You want to add anything to our presentation?
No, at this time, we'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Blair Peters.
Okay, Mr. Little?
Okay.
And then Ms. Walker.
Are there, Dr.
Sir.
Springer, are there
Yes, sir.
opportunities for people on the board and parents to kind of take a tour of these learning centers? I just think it can be an opportunity, one, to relax, but also connect what new is happening in our schools.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic idea. Of course, we want our stakeholders to see what the investment is about and what services and supports are provided. And we believe that when you see these supports in full action, that you will note the need for them and the urgency around making sure that our schools are outfitted with this type of support.
And I'll say I had a behavior problem as a kid, and I remember it was really good for my mom. Like, I just think the parent relationship, like to see this, I think parents will say, wow, like the school is really going above and beyond to make this a better situation. And then thus get buy-in, because one thing I would hear when the school calls the parents, sometimes they may not answer. And so I think starting this relationship off with, look at what we're bringing to the table for our kids.
Absolutely. I do want to note we are still in COVID protocol, and so all of that will come into play in terms of our timeline, Mr. Little, but I do want to note that for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Ms. Walker?
Thank you. So first of all, I want to just say I'm so grateful for this budget process where we identified priorities and then we are funding our priorities, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I want to first ask about a slide you had up there about the rollout and how these advocacy centers are being funded. Am I correct to assume you're using federal funds to set up these advocacy centers?
They're using, so the first 14 that were identified in the first 3 clusters, they were used, ESSER funds were used to fund those first 14.
So are you paying for staff with those ESSER funds?
Staff, construction, materials, everything that is associated with an advocacy center.
I'm worried that when the ESSER funds run out, we won't be able to continue to staff those spots. And that's not a small number of people. So I just want to.
Yeah, and I'll flag that because that was a commitment given the board's budget priorities that we made prior to the mayor's announcement to expand in this space so that we could add the additional almost 40 advocacy centers. But we definitely have our eyes on that, and we'll be layering that in over time to make sure that we can sustain those positions as we move forward. But it is something that we have to be cautious about when you're talking about non-recurring funds. But it was such a priority for us as a district that we wanted to go ahead and get started.
I just want to be really thoughtful about that. The second question I have is around our alternative schools, and I'm wondering, first of all, this was not a normal year for any school, much less an alternative school where kids were not in school to be remanded to alternative school. But I am wondering, in this world where we have technology and so forth, will our alternative schools look different going forward? Will we continue to just sort of use the same model? I mean, and it's still the case, right, that particularly high school students are not required to go if they're expelled? Is that correct? Or are they required to go to
They are.
alternative
It's
schools?
about the requirement around transportation. But for high school students, the requirement is now that they must attend.
They must attend. And so I'm just curious about this idea that, and I'm also curious how these students have done during the pandemic with being in an alternative school, being online. I don't know. Just curious.
So 2 quick things. One, just to remind the board, given your budget priorities for this year, one of those power strategies was around an ALC redesign. So while that's not being invested in, particularly around the operational budget, we will be having ongoing conversations around how we can leverage ESSER dollars in a very strategic way to begin the work around our ALC redesign. So more information will be coming about that around that very soon. And I think you are spot on. Our numbers in our ALCs were very low this year, which is a great thing for our students because the majority of them remained at their school of zone or school of choice. And so as we're wrapping up this school year, that will be an assessment, if you will, around how our students performed. But closing out last school year, we actually started to transition our ALC students back into their zone schools because we were learning virtually. So we've been mindful of that as well. But we can definitely give an update if requested by the board.
That'd be great. And then my last question is sort of a little more detail around how we're going to roll out the same kind of supports for middle and high with restorative practice assistance.
Absolutely. So doing so will require an investment for those restorative practices assistants. We will mimic the same process, outfit reimagined clusters using the equity matrix map. I think we have roughly about 30 or so schools that we need to make sure that we fund. So we'll utilize the same process. We'll utilize the same process for identifying those staff, onboarding those staff, and providing training. So we'll utilize this as a framework for how we will maximize our investments moving forward. Yes.
Ms. Alrod?
Thank you. So my first question is, according to the Advocacy Center selection process and the timeline that we have, looks like, of course, we're going to be following the reimagined or Reimagine Ed timeline for next year. And then the subsequent years, whether they're done through the 23 schools of the operation budget or the 18 schools through the equity matrix of the operation budget, are those going to be done? I just want to make sure I understand. They're going to be done at the time that we're going through that fifth grade transition?
That's a great question, Ms. Elrod. The great news here is that with our advocacy centers, based upon the timeline you've seen, was just simply how we selected the schools. But we will begin immediate implementation after approval of the budget and the schools that have been identified here through the Reimagine clusters and the next 18 through the equity matrix.
Okay, so they're not going to have to wait for when those fifth grade classes are added?
Correct.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad I
We
asked
are
that question.
pending final approval of this proposal, and once we have that budget approved, then we can begin our implementation in all the schools you see here that have been identified through Reimagine or through the equity matrix.
Okay. I guess my follow-up to that is, can we have a list of the schools that have been identified instead of just having clusters over each? Of course, I understand that that's, again, if those are funded, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I would like to know when we can.
Absolutely.
Now. Okay. My next question is, so sorry. So I understand that this is for all students, and obviously it's what's needed, and we're, I think as a board, very excited about it, as it's something that we have asked for and wanted for a long time, so it's really exciting that it's coming to fruition. Specifically for our students with any type of sensory processing disorder or ASD or whatever it might be, that historically already go into a calm down corner or into a room that's inside their own building. Will they also have access to this? And then is there anything additional that needs to be done with their IEP or any type of internal training to make sure that we're following those processes?
Dr. Springer?
Yes, so any student will have access to the Advocacy Center, whether they have an IEP or not, or specific services and supports. I believe that these types of support will just be an added layer to the IEP. We will always follow the IEP and what is stipulated within it, of course, but I do not anticipate a need to shift IEP, right, because this is an additional layer to what is already in place.
Okay, so they could still, of course, access what's inside their IEP, as that's legally what is required, but they also would have this additional on top of that. Are we
Agreed.
considering since we're having this additional PD for teachers, are we considering having each teacher do a calm down corner or something within their own classroom to help mitigate or structure this process into the advocacy centers?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Springer.
Yes, absolutely. So specifically with our advocacy centers, that definitely is a strategy that we want to leverage. We don't want it to, we want to build, equip, and empower our leaders in the building and our staff to be able to not replicate what's happening in the advocacy center, but take on those characteristics. If there's if you can be regulated right there in your classroom, stay in your classroom, in your peace corner or your space designated within your class, that is exactly what we want to see happen. And for our restorative practices in our middle and high school, that's exactly what it is. It's a peace corner in every single classroom. Again, we'll take some significant investment.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Masters?
Thank you. So I too am concerned about using ESSER funds in a way that involves so many personnel and that may not be sustainable for us. And I'm just for some clarification, I'm looking back at our March budget presentation, which included about $5 million for these advocacy centers and support, and only $52 million to come from ESSER funds in the area of SEL. So Could you just kind of speak to that? Because if I'm looking at it correctly, we've essentially cut our SEL budget by about $2 million in order to, rejuggle it and accommodate the mayor's version of the budget. So I just kind of want to be really transparent about that and how we're going to still be able to accomplish our goals in SEL with so much less money.
Dr. Bauer, do you want to?
Yes, I want to make sure I'm addressing your specific question. So going back to the ESSER funds, because of the great need, we did leverage a small portion of those funds to kickstart our advocacy centers in the 14 schools that were identified. So that is in addition to what we already had in our operational budget, and in addition to, once the budget is approved, the $2.5 million being invested through our operational budget. So can you speak to me more specifically about your concern about cutting the budget? Because there's probably not a place where we've cut the budget to meet our SEL needs. In fact, if we're looking at document number 1, I believe the second page in our budget document, you'll see an expansion of about 42.5 positions where we're expanding our SEL supports.
Yeah, I just, and I'm maybe asking a stupid question, but I'm just looking back at the March budget presentation that listed $5,810,000 for advocacy centers and specialists.
So you're looking at the aspirational,
Right.
The aspirational budget.
Right.
So the ideal, I guess to clarify, with the aspirational budget, we had $5 million for advocacy centers and specialists. So I guess in the ideal world, what was that covering? And then what are we covering now with the budget allocation that we have now at 2.5?
So in the aspirational budget, what you saw was a cost associated with an advocacy center in every school. And it being staffed appropriately, resourced appropriately to provide the services that have already been articulated by Dr. Springer today. The mayor is investing $2.5 million in advocacy centers, which means that we needed to look at our matrix and where the greatest need was in order to start that investment. At no point in time did we cut the budget. We are taking the investments as articulated by the mayor, and that will be considered by Metro Council tomorrow to determine the specifics around where those advocacy centers will be housed.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at. I think it's really important that we be transparent that we at MNPS recognize a need at the level of $5 million plus in this area. We are very grateful for the investment we are getting, but it doesn't meet our aspirations in this area. But obviously, we completely trust you to make it into something spectacular for our students. But there's still some work to be done in that area moving forward. So.
Certainly.
Sorry for the confusion, Ms. Masters.
That's all right. I'm pulling up all this old stuff here. I'm like, wait a minute. What's that number?
Tyler, do you have anything, Ms. Tyler? Okay. Is there anything else you want to close with, Dr. Battle or Dr. Springer?
That is all we have at this time. I think I will highlight there are 3 major nuggets of which you see represented in this budget proposal to you as a board this evening. One, the funding of our continuity of operations, which allows us to maintain our current operations into next fiscal year. Also, the historic investment in our top priority around teacher compensation. And the third area, which is your second priority, expansion of our social emotional learning supports across our elementary schools.
Thank you. Yeah, I think also we're going to be mindful of how we present and talk, that with the aspirational budget, it's the ultimate ideal of what we want, and that it's not currently funded. And so when we say cut, I don't want people to have the expectation that we are cutting something that already exists, that we're building on something that we want to do. So
yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. And I also, I will take this opportunity to point out that were we appropriately funded by the state, along with the incredible generosity of the city, we would be able to achieve our aspirational budget.
Absolutely. And it's a continued ongoing conversation. I think we need to have a community of what does it take to fully advocate and resource our are the programs we want our children to access and the true cost with that. So just thank you for it. So as chair, I'll entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 2021-22 operating budget. So I need somebody to make a motion. I will entertain a motion. I didn't make the motion. Yes.
I will move that we approve the budget for the 22 fiscal year.
I'll second.
Second, and then motion and second. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of approving the operating budget for 2021-22, raise your hand. Unanimous, so none opposed. Thank you. And so we approve the fiscal year budget for 2021-2022. I would just like to thank the board and the budget committee for all their work. I'd like to thank Dr. Battle and our staff for the process. We have totally, during your tenure, totally innovated the way we approach the budget process and being more transparent about the true cost to advocate the programs and the resources that we want and change the narrative of how we have these discussions. And then I think that your leadership and your staff's hard work really shown what good work happens and how the mayor and the council have begun to really trust the board and your leadership on how to fund schools. And the fact that this is the first budget in several fiscal years that we are not having any major cuts is very relieving as board chair, that we are not having the tough discussions of what changes we have to do. And I think that has to be noted and be commemorated that, I don't think Mr. Fisher's here yet, but that to the mayor's office and to Mr. Fisher, I know Mr. Clay has worked hard with Mr. Fisher to really kind of communicate that communications between our school system and with Metro government, that this is really truly a historic moment, that we're coming into a new place of how we resource Metro schools and how we will continue to work this in the future. And, you know, one of the crisis and the opportunities that came out of the crisis with the pandemic is leveraging ESSER funds in a way we would never have had in the past. I think that's something that's been noted that we can able to really leap forward, and really the conversation goes from this point forward. How do we continue to have the conversations with the community that we are a system that's worth investing? Our children are worth the resources of investing as we grow as a city, that we continue to lead financially and fiscally as we grow, and that our children is essential to the growth of the city and to be the successful first-class 21st century city, if I can get all the C's out, and that what it's going to take to make sure every student's known. And it's a process. And to the employees, we hear you. We know it's a process. To the parents, we understand that it's a process and that we are committed to this process for the long term. We have made historic changes, historic leaps. This is not the end-all, be-all, but this is just the beginning of the continue the conversation and ensure that we as a board are really focused on how do we educate children and provide the resources to do that. So, Dr. Bauer, I'll let you say any last moment words before we wrap up the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Player-Peters, for your leadership with this committee, and all the board members for your advocacy with the mayor, with the council, and with the community. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And I adjourn this meeting.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.